Good evening. There are cities and then there is New York. It's more than just a collection of streets and buildings. It's an idea, a living, breathing entity that has captured the imagination of the world for centuries. From the moment you step onto its pavement, you feel a current, a palpable energy that's a mix of ambition, history, and the dreams of millions. It's a city that has served as a backdrop for countless stories, both real and imagined. A place where fortunes are made and lost, and where the future is constantly being written. It's a global capital in every sense of the word, a crossroads where humanity converges. Tonight we're going to try and understand what makes this city tick. It's a complex question with answers woven into the very fabric of its existence. We'll peel back the layers, looking beyond the iconic skyline to explore the forces that have shaped it. We'll delve into its rich and often turbulent history, its unique geographical advantages, and its undeniable political weight on the world stage. We'll examine the vibrant, diverse society that calls it home, the world-class educational institutions that foster innovation, and the cultural landmarks that draw millions every year. Finally, we'll look at the engine that powers it all, its colossal economy, a financial behemoth whose ripples are felt in every corner of the globe. This isn't just a tour of a famous city. It's an investigation into why New York City, against all odds, continues to be a global icon, a benchmark for urban life and a symbol of relentless human spirit. Join me as we explore the heart of an empire. To understand New York today, you have to walk back through the centuries, to a time before the skyscrapers, before the subways, even before the name New York. Our story begins on the southern tip of a lush, green island the native Lenape people called Mannahatta. It was here in the early 17th century that Dutch traders arrived seeking not empire but commerce. They established a settlement, a small fortified trading post they named New Amsterdam. It was a pragmatic, business-first enterprise from its very inception, a trait that arguably remains in the city's DNA. This fledgling Dutch outpost was a microcosm of diversity from the start. It wasn't just the Dutch. It was a motley collection of Walloons, Germans, Scandinavians, and free and enslaved Africans. They were drawn by the promise of the fur trade and the relative tolerance of the colony. This wasn't a puritanical settlement built on rigid ideology. It was a port town, open to the world and driven by the hustle. The famous or infamous purchase of the island for 60 guilders is a story often told, but the real foundation was laid in the day-to-day transactions and interactions of this diverse group. The Dutch chapter, however, was relatively brief. In 1664, a fleet of English warships sailed into the harbor, and without a single shot being fired, the colony was surrendered. Governor Peter Stuyvesant, hobbling on his wooden leg, could not rally the diverse, commerce-minded citizens to fight. The English renamed it New York, in honor of the Duke of York, and its destiny as a key British colonial port was set. The street grid began to take shape, and its importance as a center for trade and shipping grew exponentially under British rule. But loyalty to the crown was not absolute. As tensions simmered across the colonies, New York became a hotbed of revolutionary fervor. It was a place of spies, of impassioned speeches by the Sons of Liberty, and of strategic military importance. The Battle of Long Island, one of the largest clashes of the Revolutionary War, was fought here. Though the city was occupied by the British for most of the war, it was also the site of their final departure, a powerful symbol of a new nation being born. It even served for a short time as the first capital of the United States. Following the Revolution, New York's trajectory was set. The opening of the Erie Canal in 1825 was a game-changer, cementing its status as the gateway to the American interior. It connected the Atlantic Ocean to the Great Lakes, funneling goods, money, and people through its port. This economic boom transformed the city into a magnet, pulling in waves of immigrants from across the globe, each seeking a foothold, a new beginning. The city's identity became inextricably linked with the immigrant experience. The 19th and early 20th centuries saw this wave become a flood. First came the Irish, fleeing the Great Famine, followed by Germans, Italians, and Eastern European Jews. They crowded into tenements on the Lower East Side, facing hardship and prejudice, but also building vibrant communities that would forever alter the city's cultural landscape. They built the subways, worked in the garment factories, and infused the city with new languages, foods, and traditions. Their struggle and their success became a central part of the New York narrative. Look at the Statue of Liberty gifted by France in 1886. It wasn't just a monument, it was a promise. For the millions who sailed into New York Harbor, her torch was the first thing they saw of America. It represented hope, a break from the old world, a chance to become something new. Ellis Island became the processing center for these huddled masses yearning to breathe free, a name that is now synonymous with the American immigrant story. Each person who passed through its halls carried a story that became part of the city's own. This history isn't just in textbooks, it's etched into the streets. You can see it in the cobblestones of the financial district, in the architecture of the brownstones in Brooklyn, and in the names of neighborhoods like Harlem and Little Italy. The city was forged in the crucible of commerce, conflict, and immigration. It's a history of constant change, of reinvention, of absorbing new cultures and ideas without losing its core identity. It's a story of resilience, and it's the foundation upon which everything else is built. You can't separate New York's story from its geography. The city's very existence, its rise to global prominence, is a direct result of a happy accident of geology and hydrology. At its heart is one of the world's largest and most magnificent natural harbors. Sheltered from the harshness of the Atlantic Ocean, deep enough to accommodate the largest ships, this harbor was the city's first and most enduring asset. It's the reason the Dutch chose this spot, and it's the reason it became the commercial gateway to a continent. The city is an archipelago, a cluster of islands and a piece of the mainland, all connected by a web of bridges and tunnels that are themselves marvels of engineering. Manhattan is the famous sliver of bedrock, an island of schist so strong it can support the immense weight of its iconic skyline. This geological foundation is literally the bedrock of the city's vertical ambition. To the east you have Long Island with Brooklyn and Queens, sprawling land masses that became home to millions. To the north, the Bronx, the only borough attached to the North American mainland, and across the harbor, Staten Island. This island geography has profoundly shaped the city's development. It created natural boundaries and fostered distinct neighborhood identities. But it also presented a challenge. How do you connect this sprawling metropolis? The answer came in steel and concrete. The Brooklyn Bridge, when it opened in 1883, wasn't just a bridge. It was a declaration of human ingenuity, a symbol that even water could not divide the city's ambition. It was followed by the Williamsburg, the Manhattan, the Verrazano Narrows, each one stitching the boroughs closer together, enabling the flow of people and commerce. The urban structure itself is a testament to foresight, at least in Manhattan. The Commissioner's Plan of 1811 imposed a rigid grid system of streets and avenues across the island. At the time, it was criticized for its monotony, for ignoring the natural topography. But in the long run, it proved to be a stroke of genius. This simple, rational grid facilitated real estate development, navigation, and the efficient movement of traffic. It's the framework upon which the chaotic, vibrant life of the city plays out every single day. Beyond the concrete and steel, however, lies a surprising amount of natural diversity. People think of New York as a concrete jungle, and in many ways it is, but that's an incomplete picture. The city is home to over 500 miles of shoreline, encompassing salt marshes, beaches, and estuaries. Places like Jamaica Bay Wildlife Refuge are internationally recognized havens for migratory birds, existing in surreal proximity to the runways of JFK Airport. It's a stark reminder that nature persists, even in the shadow of the world's most intense urban environment. Central Park is the most famous example of this planned integration of nature. It's not a patch of leftover wilderness, it's a completely man-made landscape, an 843-acre masterpiece of design intended to be the city's lungs. It was a democratic vision, a space for both the wealthy industrialist and the poor factory worker to escape the grit and grime of the 19th century city. Today, it remains an essential oasis, a shared backyard for 8 million people, and a testament to the idea that a city needs green space to be truly livable. The Hudson River, which forms Manhattan's western boundary, is more than just a body of water. It's a powerful tidal estuary, a corridor for history and commerce that flows south from the Adirondacks. It was the superhighway that the Erie Canal connected to, and its deep channel allowed New York to become the premier port on the East Coast. The waterfront, once a gritty landscape of piers and warehouses, has been dramatically transformed in recent decades into parks and recreational spaces, reconnecting New Yorkers to the very water that gave their city life. Ultimately, New York's geography is a story of constraints and opportunities. The limited landmass of Manhattan forced it to grow upwards, creating the vertical city we know today. The surrounding waterways provided an unparalleled advantage for trade, but also required incredible feats of engineering to overcome. The tension between the man-made grid and the underlying natural landscape defines the physical experience of being in New York. It's a geography that has both dictated and been shaped by human ambition. When you talk about political power, you often think of capital cities like Washington, D.C. or London. New York is not a national capital, but in many ways, its political significance transcends national boundaries. It operates on a global scale. The most potent symbol of this is the presence of the United Nations headquarters on the East River. This isn't just an office building, it's the place where the world comes to talk, to argue, to negotiate peace, and to confront the most pressing challenges facing humanity. The decision to place the UN in New York after World War II was a deliberate one. It was a recognition of America's new role as a global superpower and of New York's status as an international city, a place connected to every nation on Earth through its people and its commerce. When the UN General Assembly is in session, the city transforms. Motorcades carrying world leaders clog the streets, and the decisions made within that modernist complex have real-world consequences for billions of people. New York provides the stage for global diplomacy. But the city's political influence isn't confined to the UN. It's also a media capital of the world. The headquarters of major television networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, and influential newspapers like the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal are located here. The stories they choose to cover, the way they frame the issues, the editorials they write. It all shapes the national and international conversation. What happens in New York doesn't just stay in New York. It's broadcast, printed, and streamed to every corner of the planet. This concentration of media creates a powerful feedback loop. Politicians, both domestic and foreign, come to New York to be seen and heard. They appear on the morning shows, they sit for interviews with major publications, they seek endorsements. The city's media landscape acts as a powerful amplifier, capable of making or breaking political careers. It's a soft power, but it's incredibly potent. Being on the front page of the New York Times still matters, and it gives the city a unique voice in the political discourse. Then, there is Wall Street. While its primary function is economic, its political influence is immense. The financial district is more than just the home of the New York Stock Exchange. It's the symbolic and operational heart of global capitalism. The policies debated in Washington, from interest rates set by the Federal Reserve to trade agreements, have an immediate and dramatic impact here. And conversely, the health of Wall Street is seen as a barometer for the health of the national economy, heavily influencing elections and public policy. The flow of money from Wall Street into the political system is a well-documented and often controversial reality. Financial firms are major donors to political campaigns and spend vast sums on lobbying efforts to shape legislation in their favor. This concentration of financial power in one small corner of Manhattan gives New York an outsized voice in the corridors of power in Washington. The concerns of Wall Street often become the concerns of the nation, for better or for worse. The city also has its own complex and powerful local political scene. The mayor of New York City is often described as the second toughest job in American politics after the president. The mayor governs a population larger than that of many states and manages a budget that rivals that of small countries. The decisions made at City Hall regarding policing, education, housing, and sanitation affect the daily lives of millions and often set precedents for other cities around the world. From the global stage of the UN to the trading floors of Wall Street, and from the newsrooms of Midtown to the steps of City Hall, New York is a city saturated with political power. It's a place where international diplomacy, media narratives, financial influence, and grassroots activism all collide. It's a chaotic, noisy, and often contentious political arena, but it's one that consistently plays a crucial role in shaping the direction of not just the United States, but the world. To truly grasp the essence of New York, you must look at its people. The city is defined more than anything else by the sheer scale and diversity of its population. Over 8 million people are packed into its 5 boroughs, but honestly, that number only tells part of the story. This isn't a homogeneous mass. It's a vibrant, ever-shifting mosaic of cultures, languages, and traditions from every nation on Earth. It is, in the truest sense of the phrase, a melting pot. Walk through the streets of Queens, the most ethnically diverse urban area in the world, and you can hear, well, a symphony of languages. It's estimated that over 800 languages are spoken in New York City. Neighborhoods transform block by block. One minute you're in a community that feels like it's been transplanted from Latin America, and a few streets over, you're surrounded by the sights and sounds of South Asia or China. This isn't a recent phenomenon. It's the continuation of a story that began with the city's founding. This incredible diversity creates a unique social fabric. It fosters a certain kind of acceptance, or at least a tolerance born of necessity. When you're constantly surrounded by people who look, speak, and believe differently than you, it can really broaden your perspective. It also means the city is a living library of cultural traditions. You can experience the world without ever leaving the 5 boroughs, simply by exploring different neighborhoods, eating at different restaurants, and attending different cultural festivals. But, it's not always a harmonious utopia. The city's history is also one of tension and conflict between different groups, of struggles over resources, housing, and political power. The close proximity of so many different communities can lead to friction. Yet, time and again, New York has shown a remarkable capacity for resilience and for finding common ground. There's a shared identity that emerges from the daily struggle of living here, a sense of being a New Yorker that can often transcend ethnic or cultural backgrounds. This density of population creates a specific kind of social interaction. There's an anonymity to it. You can be alone in a crowd of millions. But there's also a, forced intimacy. You share crowded subway cars, wait in the same long lines, and navigate the same packed sidewalks. This shared experience forges a unique, unspoken social contract. There's a certain rhythm to the city, a way of moving and interacting that New Yorkers learn instinctively. The city's social structure is also one of stark contrasts. Unimaginable wealth exists side by side with profound poverty. You can see a multi-million-dollar penthouse apartment from the window of a public housing project. This disparity is a constant source of social and political tension. It drives debates about affordability, gentrification, and inequality. The struggle for a more equitable city is as much a part of New York's identity as the skyline itself. Community is built in countless ways here. It's found in neighborhood bodegas, where the owner knows your name and your coffee order. It's in the block associations, the public parks, the local libraries, and the community gardens carved out of vacant lots. Despite its massive scale, the city is, in many ways, a collection of small towns. People find their tribe, their community, whether it's based on their profession, their interests, their ethnicity, or simply the block they live on. Ultimately, the society of New York is its greatest experiment. It's a test of the proposition that people from all corners of the globe can live together, not just peacefully, but productively, creating something new and dynamic in the process. It's a messy, noisy, and complicated experiment, but it's one that has produced some of the most vibrant cultural and intellectual achievements in human history. The people are the city's lifeblood, the source of its relentless energy and its constant reinvention. A city's greatness can often be measured by its intellectual capital, and in this regard, New York is a global powerhouse. It's a city built not just on commerce and culture, but on ideas, innovation, and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. This intellectual energy is fostered and sustained by a dense concentration of world-class educational institutions and research centers that attract the brightest minds from around the globe. At the pinnacle of this academic landscape are universities like Columbia University and New York University, or NYU. These are not just local colleges, they are global brands in higher education. Columbia, an Ivy League institution perched in Morningside Heights, is a leader in fields ranging from journalism and international affairs to medicine and the sciences. Its libraries are vast repositories of human knowledge, and its faculty includes a staggering number of Nobel laureates. NYU, with its campus woven into the fabric of Greenwich Village, has a different but equally powerful presence. It's renowned for its arts programs, its law school, and its business school. Its urban identity is central to its mission, drawing students who want to be immersed in the city's creative and commercial life. Together, Columbia and NYU act as powerful magnets, drawing tens of thousands of ambitious students to the city each year, many of whom stay and contribute to its workforce after graduation. But the educational ecosystem extends far beyond these two giants. The City University of New York, or CUNY system, is one of the nation's largest urban public university systems, providing accessible, high-quality education to hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers. For generations, CUNY has been a vital engine of social mobility, offering a pathway to the middle class for working class and immigrant families. Institutions like the Cooper Union and Pratt Institute are world-renowned for their programs in art, architecture, and engineering. This concentration of academic talent fuels a thriving research environment. New York is a major center for medical and biomedical research. Hospitals like Mount Sinai, New York Presbyterian, and the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center are not just places for treatment. They are at the forefront of medical discovery. Scientists in labs across the city are working on cures for diseases, developing new medical technologies, and pushing the boundaries of human health. The city is also a hub for research in the arts and humanities. Institutions like the New York Public Library, with its iconic lions guarding the entrance, is one of the world's great research libraries. Its collections are a treasure trove for scholars, writers, and artists. Think tanks and policy institutes based in New York shape public discourse on everything from foreign policy to urban planning, contributing to the city's role as a center of intellectual debate. In recent years, New York has made a concerted effort to become a leader in the tech and engineering sectors, challenging the dominance of Silicon Valley. The development of the Cornell Tech campus on Roosevelt Island is a prime example of this ambition. It's a graduate school designed to foster innovation and entrepreneurship, directly linking academic research with the city's burgeoning tech industry. This is a deliberate strategy to ensure the city's economy remains diversified and future-proof. The impact of these institutions is, honestly, immeasurable. They train the city's doctors, lawyers, teachers, artists, and engineers. They generate groundbreaking research that has a global impact. They host lectures, conferences, and performances that enrich the city's cultural life. And they create a constant influx of new ideas and new energy, ensuring that New York never becomes intellectually stagnant. The city is a classroom, a laboratory, and a library, all on a massive scale. If New York has a primary export, it might just be culture. For decades, the city has been a global epicenter for the arts, entertainment, and tourism, creating a mythology that draws tens of millions of visitors every year. They come seeking to experience firsthand the iconic landmarks and cultural institutions that they've seen countless times in movies and photographs. This cultural magnetism is a vital part of the city's identity and its economy. The symbols of New York are recognized the world over. The Statue of Liberty, standing tall in the harbor, remains the ultimate emblem of freedom and new beginnings. A ferry ride to see her up close is a pilgrimage for many visitors. Not far away, Times Square, with its dazzling cacophony of digital billboards and relentless crowds, is the city's frenetic commercial heart. It may be overwhelming for locals, but for a tourist, it's an immersive experience of New York's sheer energy. Then there is the sanctuary of Central Park, the city's green lung and masterpiece of landscape architecture. It offers a vital escape and a place for recreation, from rowing a boat on the lake to visiting strawberry fields or simply lying on the Great Lawn. It is as much a cultural institution as any museum, and no cultural tour is complete without a journey to Broadway, the pinnacle of live theater in the English-speaking world. The historic theaters of the Theater District host world-class productions that define excellence in stagecraft. The city's museum scene is, without exaggeration, one of the best on the planet. The Metropolitan Museum of Art, or the Met, is a universe unto itself, with a collection that spans 5,000 years of human creativity from every corner of the globe. You could spend a lifetime exploring its galleries. Just a short walk away is the Guggenheim, an architectural masterpiece by Frank Lloyd Wright, housing a world-class collection of modern and contemporary art. Downtown, the Museum of Modern Art, or MoMA, offers an unparalleled journey through the art of the last 150 years, from Van Gogh's The Starry Night to Warhol's Campbell's Soup Cans. And the American Museum of Natural History, with its iconic dinosaur skeletons and the Milstein Hall of Ocean Life, inspires wonder in visitors of all ages. These institutions are not just repositories of artifacts, they are active centers for education and scholarship. But New York's culture isn't confined to these grand institutions. It lives and breathes in the streets, in the music venues of Greenwich Village, the jazz clubs of Harlem, and the contemporary art galleries of Chelsea. It's in the graffiti art that adorns a brick wall in Bushwick, and the impromptu breakdancing performance on a subway platform. The city is a stage, and a performance is always happening somewhere. Tourism is the industry that runs on this cultural capital. It supports hundreds of thousands of jobs, from hotel workers and restaurant staff to taxi drivers and Broadway actors. Visitors fill the city's hotels, eat in its restaurants, and shop in its stores, injecting billions of dollars into the local economy each year. The city's ability to constantly reinvent itself to offer new attractions and experiences is key to its enduring appeal. This constant flow of visitors also contributes to the city's cosmopolitan atmosphere. It reinforces New York's image as a global crossroads, a place where people from all over the world come to connect, to be inspired, and to be entertained. Whether it's catching a baseball game at Yankee Stadium, walking across the Brooklyn Bridge at sunset, or exploring the trendy boutiques of Soho, the cultural offerings are as diverse as the city's population itself, ensuring that New York remains a top destination for travelers worldwide. Ultimately, the story of New York is a story of money. From its origins as a Dutch trading post, commerce has been the city's lifeblood. Today, New York stands as one of the twin pillars of the global economy, alongside London. Its economic significance is so profound that a hiccup on Wall Street can trigger a financial crisis on the other side of the world. It is, without question, the financial capital of the world. The heart of this economic power is the financial district in Lower Manhattan. This small patch of land is home to the New York Stock Exchange and the Nasdaq, the two largest stock exchanges in the world by market capitalization. Trillions of dollars in value are traded here every single day. This is where companies come to raise capital, where investments are made, and where the fortunes of the global economy are often decided. The concentration of financial expertise here is unparalleled. Beyond the stock exchanges, New York is the headquarters for a huge number of Fortune 500 companies. It's a global center for banking, investment management, and insurance. The world's most powerful financial institutions have a major presence here, and the decisions made in their boardrooms in Midtown and downtown Manhattan have a ripple effect across the globe, influencing everything from corporate strategy to consumer lending rates. But to think of New York's economy as just finance is to miss the bigger picture. The city boasts a highly diversified and robust economy. It is a major hub for international trade and commerce thanks to its port, one of the busiest on the East Coast. Goods from all over the world flow through the Port of New York and New Jersey, destined for markets across North America. The logistics and shipping industries are a massive, though often unseen, part of the city's economic engine. New York is also a leader in a host of other powerful industries. The city's media and entertainment sectors are a huge economic driver, encompassing everything from film and television production to publishing and advertising. Madison Avenue was once the symbolic home of the advertising world, and while the industry has spread out, New York remains its creative and commercial center. The city's fashion industry is another global powerhouse, with New York Fashion Week being one of the most important events on the international calendar. In recent decades, the tech industry has become a significant and rapidly growing component of the city's economy. A vibrant startup scene, often dubbed Silicon Alley, has emerged, focusing on areas like fintech, ad tech, media tech, and e-commerce. This growth has been fueled by the city's deep talent pool, its proximity to major industries, and investment from both venture capital firms and established corporations. The tech sector is bringing a new kind of energy and innovation to the city's economic landscape. The real estate market in New York is an economic force in its own right. Commercial and residential real estate in Manhattan is among the most expensive in the world. The constant cycle of construction, development, and transactions represents a massive flow of capital. The city's skyline is a testament to this, constantly being reshaped by new towers that are monuments to both architectural ambition and financial might. In essence, New York functions as the command and control center for the global economy. It's where capital, talent, and ideas converge. Its unique combination of financial dominance, corporate headquarters, trade infrastructure, and leadership in creative and tech industries makes its economy incredibly resilient and powerful. This economic might is what funds the city's vast infrastructure, its cultural institutions, and its global influence. It is the engine that powers the city that never sleeps. So what is it then that makes New York City so important? As we've seen, it's not one single thing. It's a complex and powerful alchemy, It's the weight of its history, from a tiny trading post to a global metropolis, a history built on the dreams and labor of immigrants. It's the gift of its geography, a perfect natural harbor that made it a gateway to a continent and forced it to reach for the sky. It's the gravity of its political stage, where the world's nations meet and where media and finance shape the global conversation. It's the vibrant, chaotic, and beautiful tapestry of its society, a human mosaic that serves as a living experiment in diversity. It's the intellectual firepower of its universities and research centers, a knowledge factory that drives innovation. It's the magnetic pull of its culture, from the bright lights of Broadway to the hallowed halls of the Met, creating a mythology that captivates the world. And it's the sheer, undeniable force of its economy, the engine room of global capitalism. No other city on Earth possesses this unique combination of attributes in such concentration. It is a city of superlatives, of contradictions, of relentless ambition and constant change. It can be tough, expensive, and overwhelming, but it is also generous, inspiring, and endlessly fascinating. New York City is more than just a location on a map. It is a benchmark, an idea, and a testament to what people can build when they come together from all corners of the world to strive for something greater. It is, and will likely remain, one of the most important cities the world has ever known. I'm Adil. Thanks for watching.